everyone, welcome to Tokyo Talk. I'm Mai, and today we're exploring the word dilate.
And I'm Jack. The word dilate is fascinating because it describes something expanding or getting wider, which happens everywhere, from our eyes to the universe.
Exactly. When we say something dilates, it means it widens or expands. The most common example is our pupils, which dilate in low light. Have you noticed this phenomenon, Jack?
Definitely. I've seen it when taking photos of my favorite idol in concerts, where their pupils are visibly dilated in the dim lighting. The cameras can capture this beautifully.
When Jack mentioned idol or idol, he's referring to Japanese pop stars with dedicated fan followings. Do your pupils dilate when you see your favorite idols, Jack?
They probably do. Our pupils dilate not just in darkness, but also when we see something we like or find exciting. Speaking of which, do yours dilate on your dates, Mai?
Very funny. Actually, pupil dilation can be a sign of attraction, which is why I tend to avoid overly bright restaurants on first dates. What other contexts can we use dilate in?
In medicine, doctors talk about blood vessels dilating to increase blood flow. In physics, time dilation is related to Einstein's theory of relativity, where time appears to expand or slow down.
That's interesting. Time dilation is when time appears to pass more slowly, especially near objects with strong gravitational fields. It's a complex concept from physics. How would you use dilate in everyday language?
We might say, her eyes dilated with surprise, or the speaker dilated on the topic for hours, which means they expanded their discussion at length. This second usage is less common, but still valid.
Jack just used an interesting phrase, dilated on the topic, which means to speak or write at length about something. This verbal use of dilate is more formal and literary. How does it connect to AI research, Jack?
In my generative AI work, we study how language models can dilate or compress information depending on the context. An AI might briefly mention a topic or dilate on it extensively based on user requirements.
Now let's look at some synonyms for dilate. How would you compare dilate with expand, Jack?
While both mean to become larger, dilate specifically refers to something increasing in diameter or width, often creating an opening. Expand is broader, meaning to increase in any dimension or scope.
Right. Your pupils dilate in darkness, but your knowledge expands when you learn something new. What about dilate versus widen?
Widen means to make something broader or less narrow, while dilate often implies a more circular opening and can be involuntary, like with pupils. Widen is also more commonly used for roads or gaps.
And how does dilate compare with stretch? This one confuses many English learners.
Stretch involves extending something by pulling it, making it longer or wider through tension. When your muscles stretch, they elongate. When your pupils dilate, they open wider, but don't necessarily elongate.
Excellent point. Let's compare dilate with enlarge. They seem similar, but have different uses, don't they?
Enlarge means to increase in size in any way, while dilate specifically refers to opening wider from a center point. You enlarge a photo to see details, but your blood vessels dilate to increase blood flow.
This reminds me of how musical phrases can dilate in jazz, especially in bebop. As a saxophone player, I might stretch a melody by adding notes while maintaining the same tempo.
That's fascinating. In music, does dilate have a specific meaning different from other contexts? Or is it metaphorical, similar to how we use it in language?
It's more metaphorical in music. When we say a musical phrase dilates, we mean it expands and takes up more time or space within the music, similar to how a pupil opens wider to let in more light.
Let's look at antonyms too. The opposite of dilate would be constrict or contract. If your pupils dilate in darkness, they constrict in bright light. What other antonyms can we think of?
Other antonyms include narrow, shrink, and compress. If we think about it in terms of time, the opposite of time dilation might be time compression, where time seems to pass quickly. Any dating experiences where time dilated, Jack?
Very clever, Mai. But speaking of dating, I heard you had a coffee date last weekend. Did the time dilate and seem to slow down? Or did it compress and fly by too quickly?
Let's just say I've been focusing on my jazz practice instead. When I'm improvising on my saxophone, time seems to both dilate and compress simultaneously. It's a strange paradox.
Now let's review some key points about dilate. It primarily means to become wider, especially in a circular opening like pupils. Medical contexts include blood vessels and the cervix during childbirth.
Exactly. We can say her eyes dilated with excitement to describe someone's emotional reaction. This differs from expand, which could refer to growth in any direction or dimension.
And widen typically refers to making something less narrow, while dilate often implies a circular opening expanding from a center point outward. It's more specific in its application.
We've also learned that dilate can be used metaphorically, such as when a speaker dilates on a topic or when time seems to dilate in certain situations. Thank you for exploring this fascinating word with us today.
It's been a pleasure. Remember, next time you're in a dark room or feeling surprised, pay attention to how your pupils dilate. Until next time on Tokyo Talk.